The Senzo Meyiwa trial took another dramatic turn this afternoon after proceedings suddenly stalled over police registers linked to Bongani Ntanzi's alleged phone possession in custody. What started as a technical testimony from Colonel Thoka quickly evolved into a courtroom battle over missing documentation, occurrence books, and SAPS detention books. And by the end of the session, the court adjourned because one critical register still had not been produced. Damn. At this stage, it's becoming clearer what Advocate Sipho Ramasipili is targeting. This is no longer just about a cell phone. It's now about documentation, police procedures, chain of custody, and possible contradictions in official SAPS records. Advocate Ramasipili appeared determined to establish whether the paperwork surrounding Ntanzi's detention actually supports the version of the police. During the afternoon session, the state confirmed that SAP 14 register, the custody or cell register, had already been made available to the defense. According to the prosecution team, that register was already canvassed during Ntanzi's earlier cross-examination. But then something important happened. The defense clarified that the real issue now is not merely the custody register. It is the occurrence book, the OB. And according to what was said in court, the occurrence book is still not before court. One register is already making its way, while another was described as up in the air. That wording immediately raises questions because earlier today, Colonel Thoka emphasized how mandatory these entries are supposed to be. This is critical. According to Colonel Thoka's own testimony, every detention must be recorded. Officers must sign. Times must be recorded. Confiscated property must be documented. Unusual incidents inside cells must be entered into the OB. Now, remember the central issue. Sergeant Mohane previously testified that Ntanzi was found with a cell phone in custody in February 2021. If that happened, the defense appears to want proof of who discovered the phone, when it was discovered, which officer entered it, whether the occurrence book reflects it, whether procedures were followed, and whether the records match the oral testimony. That is likely why the OB register suddenly became so important this afternoon. Now, the difficulty for the state is this. The more detailed Colonel Thoka became about SAPS procedures, the more important the actual paperwork became. Because if searches are mandatory, records are mandatory, signatures are mandatory, property entries are mandatory, then any missing or incomplete documentation may create credibility issues, especially in a matter already surrounded by disputes over arrest, confessions, cell phone evidence, and detention procedures. Another noticeable moment was the court's confusion over which register had already been discussed and which had not. The judge repeatedly tried to establish what exactly was disputed, which register had already been produced, and what still remained outstanding. That confusion itself may become significant later because this issue appears to be evolving into a battle over records management and police procedure compliance. At first glance, some viewers may think this discussion about registers is boring and technical, but strategically it may be very important. Ramasipili appears to be building a procedural argument step by step. First, establish SAPS rules. Then establish what officers are required to do. And then compare those rules against what already happened to Ntanzi. And finally, test whether the documentation supports the police version. That appears to be the direction this cross-examination is heading. Today's proceedings may ultimately become less about cell phone itself and more about whether SAPS procedures were properly followed from the beginning. Because once Colonel Thoka confirmed that searches, entries, and documentation are mandatory, the natural next question became, where are the records? and until the occurrence book is properly before court, the controversy surrounding Ntanzi's alleged cell phone possession inside custody is likely to continue growing. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the Hot Series A. Please leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. This is the Hot Series A.
Look, but the rest that are with Colonel Road, my lord, I cannot speak for that. The state knows what the state of affairs is regarding that, my lord. That's how far I will take it, my lord, as the court pleases.
Yes. As the court pleases, my lord, just to add on what Mr. Ramasibil has already placed on record, the state has made available the SAP 14 register, which is the cell register available for that period to the defense at this stage, my lord, the original. And it was also canvassed through cross-examination with Mr. Ntanzi, my lord, already.
All those registers were canvassed?
No, my lord, the cell register.
Yeah.
Yes, it was canvassed during cross-examination.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Because I seem to recall all of them were brought here.
Yes, we've made available the original cell register for that period, my lord.
Didn't I hear you guys saying there is no dispute about the register? Didn't I hear you say that?
Well, as my colleague has just pointed out, during cross-examination, the registers were not disputed as such, but what my colleagues are saying is that they want to have sight of the occurrence book. Only the custody register was canvassed during cross-examination. So they want to have sight of the occurrence book.
They want to have sight of the occurrence book, which is not marked. Or is it marked?
Yeah, well, the occurrence book is not yet before court.
It's not before court. Okay, so what do we do now?
As the court pleases, my lord, we have canvassed this with my colleagues to say my leading of this witness, what is remaining, is solely on those registers. The register when Mr. Ntanzi first came in, and the register of the 7th February 2021, when a cell phone was allegedly found and confiscated from Mr. Ntanzi at the cells. And both are still, in fact, one of them is making way, the other one, it's up in the air, my lord, as the court pleases.
Okay, fine. Yeah, so are we adjourning now?
As the court pleases, my lord, with the court's indulgence, we beg that, my lord.
Okay, we adjourn until tomorrow.
Welcome to the fire where the stakes ignite, where the questions burn hotter than the night. No escape once you're locked in the heat. This is your trial on the hot seat.